when he was stationed in Alaska, he actually did dog sled racing, where they hook the dogs up to the sleds and they pull them. He did dog sled racing pulled by dogs. And he also spent some time in Wyoming in his younger years. I guess this must have been when he was in the service as well. But he actually was a rodeo cowboy. He rode bucking horses, bucking broncos in the rodeo. I don't know how long this lasted, but he was a rodeo cowboy. And then plus when he got out of the service, he moved back home, got a job as a firefighter, worked his way up to arson investigator. And this guy was really into all that. When he retired in 2001, and he had bought a piece of land maybe a few years earlier. And he bought some horses, and he had a horse pasture. It was a fenced-in area. You drive back this gravel road, and there was a big horse pasture back there that was his, and he had a barn out there for the horses to take shelter in, and there was a pond out there for the horses. And there was I've been there a few times. The place is just about a mile from where I'm at right now. Obviously, I'm not going to walk up there now, but he had he would, especially after he retired, he would go horseback riding all the time, and he'd take people with him. Different people, but he had one partner who accompanied him horseback riding, who was a woman who was younger than him she may have been about my age or a little older or a little younger. She would ride with him all the time, and he would they rode so much together that some people thought they were having an affair, because Larry was a married man and I think she was a married woman. But they rode together all the time. And I knew excuse me, I'm clearing my throat. I knew where they rode horses. I knew where their riding trails were. This pasture, the place where he kept his horses pastured, there was a gate that led out, went down a hill into the woods, across a bridge, over a creek in the woods, and, up through a trail, out to this gravel road. And when they got on this gravel road, there was different ways they could go, a couple different directions, and it just, quite a few miles that they could ride horses on. They had trails going back through fields and woods. And I used to see horse tracks all over back then. And by the way, those are Cocoa pantyhose. Comment, tell me if you like them. But yeah, they would ride all over. And they did this for a few years. And on a regular basis. I know he still had those horses in 2011. So he had them for several years. He eventually got to where he couldn't do it anymore because he had a stroke. I think it was 2012, and then he just couldn't do it anymore.